Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Moneyball Minute. My name is Kirk Henderson, and I'm editor-in-chief of MavsMoneyball.com. Thank you for joining me. It is Tuesday, November 22nd, and I appreciate you spending part of your day with me. Let's get right to it because there's a number of things that I want to point you in the direction of. If you need a little palate cleanser, last week there was an incredible podcast from the guys over at Thinking Basketball. It's by Ben Taylor, who has a popular YouTube channel and a Patreon called Thinking Basketball. Did about an hour-long show on the differences in heliocentrism between Luka Doncic and Trae Young. They really do an interesting job of breaking down the two teams and kind of the differences in how Luka and Trae play. It's been a while since that rhetoric had heated up, so that was a fun one to listen to last week. The next show the next thing that I wanted to point your attention to was an article that I wrote, and I wrote it last week, but I actually sort of sat on it because when the Mavericks have these sort of really frustrating losses, I rev up about the same topics. Well, for once, I decided to actually commit those thoughts to paper, and I wrote a column that seemed very fitting after the Dallas Mavericks lost to the Denver Nuggets called "There is no help coming for these Dallas Mavericks." And those of you who are listening to a daily show like this already know this stuff. But it's Tim McMahon, when he went on the Low Post and sort of broke down all the different elements that led to Jalen Brunson leaving, it felt worth going deeper and understanding how after drafting Luka Doncic and then Jalen Brunson, the Dallas Mavericks have proceeded to either make all of their basically every single choice that they've made in terms of team building hasn't worked out. It's really shocking when you see it all in the line. And as a result of that, they've sort of boxed themselves in this year where they have a overpaid team over the salary cap. They don't have draft picks that they can trade. And there aren't moves to be made that wouldn't really hurt one element of what they're trying to do by it's basically moving problems around. I didn't write it in the negative sense. It's not critical of Mark or critical of Donnie or critical of Haralabad. It's the entire journey and what the Mavericks have done to get themselves in this situation. And it's worth taking a look at because I think this season might be a little more frustrating than we're all willing to admit. The link for these things, by the way, guys, are in the show notes, and I hope you go and give a click through and just take a look at some of these things. Next, Josh Bowe wrote a piece that walks through why he thinks this Mavericks team is pretty ideal for day-to-day chatter with sort of the 2 steps forward, 1 step back routine that the Mavericks do. He walks through elements of this and that the Mavericks have, while they are 9-7, they could be 15-1. That's how stupid some of these losses have been. and he walks through all the bad losses and why it's sort of ridiculous and fun to argue about them. I really did enjoy this piece from Josh. And then Doyle Rader has a piece up called "These Dallas Mavericks Look a Lot Like Last Season's Dallas Mavericks." Now, if you'll notice, Josh, Doyle, and I, we all sort of wrote on a theme. It wasn't intentional, but we think that the Mavericks are kind of at an inflection point. 9-7 is obviously fine. There's a morass in the West that it's going to be very hard. It's going to take either a win streak or a losing streak from somebody to start to break this up, because it's the logjam's not going to solve itself overnight. But anyway, this piece that Doyle wrote is nice. I appreciate where Doyle comes from on this, because Doyle's much more of a beat reporter guy than I am. He looks at this thing with far less emotion than I do. And the fact that all three of us sort of covered this from a specific angle, I think is worth everyone's time. The last thing that I want to point you to is Jason Kidd's post-practice press conference, which the Dallas Mavericks have been so good as to point us towards. And it's you can't really hear the questions because Jason Kidd's the only one mic'd up. But the answers that he gives are really, really unsatisfactory to just about everything. To why he's making decisions within the rotations. He describes the hot hand. I don't think he meant to. He tried to explain that Christian Wood isn't playing because they don't have the bigs to play right now with Maxi Kleber out. It's just the sort of thing that harkens back to why Josh Bowe, myself, and any Milwaukee Bucks fan would tell you why the Mavericks should have maybe not hired Jason Kidd. Now, I'm not on the Fire Kidd bandwagon, but he's not done a good job. He just hasn't right now. And I mean this season. Obviously, you go to the Western Conference Finals, it's fine. But they've talked to us about continuity being one of their biggest strengths, and he falls back on how they're trying to incorporate new guys. And there's just lots of low-key excuse making from Jason Kidd. He doesn't take responsibility for much at all. And I don't like that. I just don't like it. The response might be, who cares what you think, Kirk? And maybe that's the case. But at this point in time, you can't feel good about this Dallas Mavericks team in relation to our expectations. Now, were our expectations too high? Maybe. My pinned tweet is expectations are the thief of joy. But I do think that Kidd could be coaching a better basketball game than he does. He sits there with his hands in his pockets. He never defends his superstar. And he always seems to be a bit of a bystander from whatever's going on with the Mavericks on the court. He needs to play a more active role. He just does. I hope all this works out. That would be great. But Jason Kidd is right now giving us strong year 2 Jason Kidd vibes, which is to say in his previous job with the Bucks, he absolutely imploded and they moved on from him. I don't think that's going to be the case here, but he's certainly not putting on a performance that's giving everyone a lot of confidence. All right, guys, thanks for spending part of your day with me. I hope everyone has a better Tuesday after a sort of Mavs hangover Monday. We'll see what else comes up. There's a number of good things getting posted on Mavs Moneyball today. I hope you check out the site. Maybe we'll be back and talking about them soon. Everyone have a great day. Talk soon.